Welcome back to another episode of Fact or Freestyle,
where we uncover facts from BMX.
And now we're going to find out what's going on.
Let's see how far down this rabbit hole we go.
Oh no.
There it is. Can you hear me?
There it is. Yeah.
So you had to take a Uber to Thunderworld because your Jeep froze up.
Yeah. Hey, go like that. Give it one more. It's locked.
Oh, you know what? I know it's locked. I had to lock it. There we go. Now we're in business.
How
We're
was
Joe
how was the bonfire?
It was really cool because the guy who's our friend, his name is Frank Charles Nicholas. You know him, right? Of course. No. And he's a very interesting person. Like he can do any job. He's had every job in the world. His real profession is a cook. He's a chef.
No
but
way.
But if you were like on an airplane and the pilot died, he could probably land the plane. Like I would have no problem with him landing the plane. And even if he was like, this is my first time on an airplane, I would oh no. I would pick him to fly the plane. But let me see here, my phone fell. But anyways, he lives in Australia. He's from here. He grew up with Bradley Cooper as his like Gary Pollock. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
So
That was good.
So like he actually had like he was in like he had like a posse of like all these dudes, and Bradley Cooper was just one of the dudes. So but anyway, so the guys, I don't know the whole history of his family, but they had a farm right outside of Philadelphia that they bought in 1918. And now like nobody lives there. It's basically abandoned, but all the shit's still there. It was a dairy farm.
No way.
So the house has like everything in it still. And it's like you could just, if Hollywood was like, hey, we want to film like the Blair Witch thing, like we can just film it right here. Like we don't have to buy any props, we don't have to do anything. We just need actors and some lighting and we're set, because there's like fields and farms and lakes and creeks and animals, and just everything there just looks like a murder happened like in the house, because it's all like dilapidated and messed up. But there's like, you like just go into a room and you open a closet and there just be like clothes and paperwork from like 1920.
Wow.
Just like receipts from like just like buying stuff from the 20s and all this. It's crazy. Just like, it's nuts. But me, Warren, and a bunch of other people, like everyone's kids and stuff, just sat around the big campfire and you cooked sweet potatoes, asparagus, venison, sausage, and lamb chops.
Oh, wow.
You over on just like a big grate. It was pretty awesome.
Oh,
and then of course I had all the kids smoking cigars, so I got in trouble. Well, I mean, what are you gonna do when a 14-year-old girl goes, hey, can I have a cigar? And you're like, sure, here you go. Gotta let her have it, right? Why not?
How did you talk your way out, or what was when you got in trouble for giving that 14-year-old girl a cigar, how did you defend your actions?
there's really nothing to defend. The kids are going to smoke a cigar somewhere. They're going to smoke someday. Why not it be in front of your parents when they're in a controlled environment? You know.
There you go.
So there you go.
You're always right. It never ceases to amaze me. I always want to ask the question, and not like, because people are like, some people are like, well, how would you defend yourself against that?
Yeah.
And they're so smug because they think they know. I know I don't know, and I'm like, no, seriously, how did you do that? So,
oh man,
last night, Bill gets on first, and he asks me what I do. He's like, before anyone else joins, can you just tell me what you do for a living, Joe?
I'm still trying to figure it out.
And so I gave him what I thought was a good enough explanation, but we'll see how that works.
Yeah.
And then as it goes on, so like in Summit 43, when he was preparing, he was in his car and he was smoking a little tiny
marijuana
doobie.
Yeah.
And he's like, and he put it like on the like sunroof, and he's like, okay, edit that out. But last night he was just like
smoking it the whole time.
Yes.
Oh, you know, he probably doesn't want people to know that he smokes pot because he does all those school shows, right? He probably does a lot of school shows still.
Yeah. I can't even tell you how much effort it's going to be for me to put a little smiley face over Bill every time he puts that like
pipe in his head. Yeah.
Oh, I texted him this morning, and I think I know the answer, but it's just like, I'm just having like, you know that scene from one of the Hangover sequels where Zach Galifianakis is like at the blackjack table and he sees all of the formulas in his head. I saw just hours of editing in my future to clean all that stuff up, and I was like, oh my god, when am I going to do this?
And you have to deal with the bathrobe too. That was my most disturbing thing.
The bathrobe was my favorite part. He kept doing things like lifting his leg, and I'm like, are we about to have a Sharon Stone scene here?
Oh man.
But I don't know. Bathrobe Bill Nitschke is a good nickname.
I can't believe you haven't started over posting about the Bill Nitschke signature bathrobe yet. You know, he could have his like you could have like the regular terry cloth white, but if you pay a little more, you could have maybe like the velvet or gold one. You know, you could the Bill Nitschke robe.
I mean, maybe I'll do that now while we're talking, because it could be the Bill Nitschke. It could be the Bill Nitschke Naked Gumby fundraiser bathrobe.
You're still talking about the Naked Gumby still?
I can't. Yeah. The reason so here's the thing. To you and me, Naked Gumby is old news.
Yeah, but not
to the writers at COB, dude, Frank Lucas took video of hand delivering those zines to the dudes.
Yeah.
And the Japanese guys, Frank pointed out to him like the $100 bill, and their faces were like, why? Like Alexei saw immediately that it was play money.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh no. If the Japanese guys try to buy drinks tonight
with that money,
with that money, they're going to go to jail.
Oh
I hope
That would
no
be
one
so-
has gone to jail.
That would be
How would
so
I talk my
bad.
way?
You couldn't. You'd have to. I would just blame Dave.
Oh my goodness.
So the event that went on this weekend was a pro flatland contest. What was Dave Norrie's place in this? Did he go there to ride to enter?
No.
He just went to kick it.
Yeah. So Scott and Terry invited everyone in the US to come and like be stoked.
No one invited
Um,
me. No one invited me. Next time you
I
see
don't
Terry, say no one invited Ray Schleckweg. You would have went.
I'm gonna say, look,
Say Ray likes Stoke.
what I'm gonna say is, Terry, I want this to be a lesson to you. Angie was fine here at home, but you never invited Ray.
Yeah.
And if Ray doesn't get the invite, I'm not going. So let that be a lesson to you.
Can't believe I didn't get invited. Oh,
I mean, it wasn't like here's your invitation. Okay. It was like, buy this ticket to the event that I put my name on the line for.
oh.
Yeah, that's the difference. I mean, those guys.
What does it cost to go to one of those? Like if I just showed up, I was like, hey, I just want to come in and buy a ticket. How much is a ticket for something?
Some like $25.
Oh God, that's nothing.
No, I mean, they had 500 seats in that spot. They did it in the location where they store all of the Mardi Gras floats.
Oh boy.
So apparently there is a building whose sole purpose is to store Mardi Gras floats all year. And I can only imagine that there are people who own the Mardi Gras floats who basically like pay storage rent.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that it's like that any schmuck can just, store their float there. It's like a boat dock or something.
Yeah.
And so they sent Chris Doyle and Daryl
I know who he is. Wait, isn't Chris Doyle he's a
dirt jumper?
Yeah.
And
he's a dirt jumper. Did you ever hear his gnarly story where he like had like a heart attack? He had like a heart defect and died.
No.
Yeah. He was at his jumps. He was at his dirt jumps with his friends. He had some kind of heart problem and he had a heart attack. And his friends were smart enough to know, let's just keep doing chest compressions until the paramedics get here, and they kept him alive. They just gave him, because like if you peace out and someone just does chest compressions for like 10 minutes, once somebody gets there that can start you back up, that's enough to keep your blood going through. You have enough oxygen in your blood that if you just keep doing that, you won't have major problems or whatever. But anyway, I don't know the full story, but they did that, and he lived, and he's totally, I don't know if he's totally fine, but he's fine enough to go to and this was years ago. Google web it. Go on the interweb, you'll see it. So Chris was announcing a flatland contest, but he's a dirt jumper.
Yeah.
That'd be worse than if I did it.
They coached him on all the tricks.
Yeah.
And they're like, and they did that, like, because Lee Musselwhite does that one where he just sits on the crossbar, the seat is on his chest, and he takes his hands and feet off, and he calls it a spider glide. And I was like, spiders have 8 legs.
Yeah, they do.
And
he thought if he spread them out big enough, it'd look like a spider.
But if he could move them around,
Half a
people would
spider.
get confused.
Maybe he wants people to count his fingers too. If he wiggles his fingers right. Jazz fingers.
Chris Doyle heart attack.
Where do you find this?
There it goes.
See? I get all
Chris
my
Doyle.
information from Warren.
This is 2018. Heart attack, stroke. No,
These are not him.
Oh, Chris Doyle. Here's the statement he made in Men's Journal. He had made some statement on Ride BMX, which is now gone. Wow. Jeez Louise.
Jeez Louise, he said.
I'm trying to not
You're trying not to cry. You're trying not to cry. I know. I can see it. I'm trying not to swear.
It was very emotional last night. So holy smokes. So I get home yesterday morning. I was supposed to have an eye appointment, but the receptionist dude at the eye appointment was really cunty.
Wow.
And Angie had made my appointment, and they decided that she was too difficult to work with because she was calling in the middle of her day to do me a favor.
Uh-oh.
And the guy goes, "Oh, I have your appointment. It's for January 17th." And I'm like, "What?" And so they were so cunty that they told her my appointment could be on December 17th. I show up and they say, "No, your appointment is in a month." And I'm looking around that place and I'm looking at this dude, and he's like super dialed, like his glasses and his scrubs match. And the thing about Columbus is like there's a lot of trust fund money in Columbus. Yeah. And when you come across these people, they're not working to make a living. What they're doing is they're getting a job and getting out of the house because their parents demand it. Yeah. And they take receptionist jobs, and they are the cuntiest, meanest, like jerks. And you can tell. Yeah. And this guy was one of them. And I was like, you actually decided that you were just going to change my appointment. That was your plan. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, you're the worst.
So when you got there, what'd you do? Just leave? Were you just like, all right, I gotta go?
I figured when he told me the mix up with the date, and like I was picking up some of his attitude. But he was like, I said something like, you know, the eyeglass company Luxottica, they own Ray-Ban and stuff like that. So he's trying to figure out my insurance. Okay. So he's trying to figure out my insurance. He's like, what kind of insurance do you have? And I'm like, I think I have that Luxottica stuff. And so that was like inside knowledge of how insurance works. Yeah. And he's like, no, I found it. You have it bundled in this. And I'm like, he was just a little too proud of himself. Yeah. And so I start picking up these little signs And then I call Angie and I'm like, or I text Angie, I'm like, oh, hey, my appointment was actually on January. She's like, no. And
No, it wasn't.
Angie has a memory like a steel trap,
Yeah.
like steel trap memory, perfect. She'll, whenever she calls to set something up, it's in the middle of her day and she's like,
Yeah.
she's probably mixing color or doing something else.
Yeah.
And obviously this kid liked to have everybody kiss his ass, and that's just not, Angie's just not in that business.
Yeah.
So yeah, so anyway, I get done, I come out of that, and then I got to pick up the next round of zines, and
The next round.
I'm doing them in small batches, like bourbon.
Like
And
bourbon.
so I go to the FedEx, office to pick them up. And then I
Yeah.
say, hey, I'm Sisman. I didn't get a text, but I talked to Ray. And she goes, oh, yeah, we didn't do those because she's like, you're going to have to talk to Rebecca. And there's just these two old women running the FedEx.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, that's fine. She
Oh,
goes, this is so funny. She goes, yeah, there was something ambiguous about it. And I'm like,
What?
I'm like, it's fitting. I'm an ambiguous guy. What's the problem?
Uh-oh.
And they go, why would this looks like a booklet? Why do you want it printed single instead of double? And I'm like,
Yeah.
here's the thing. I need blank pages for ad space. And they go, oh, now I understand. I need blank pages for ad space.
Ad space. Huh.
Yep. Anyway, so I get those. I bring them all back. I fold them up. I autograph them with the Dave Norrie autograph stamp, which is
Oh no.
like, wait till you get yours. It's in the mail.
Yeah.
It's going to be so great.
Wait, does it have the fake $100 bill in it?
Yes.
Oh, thank God. Thank God.
Yes. Everybody gets the fake $100 bill.
The fake $100 bill.
And it's put into the page where it says Dave Norrie so protects his trick, the Gumby, because it's worth $43 million.
It is. It totally.
Like, there's just layers of jokes in this zine. And
how many people get the jokes though? How many people will open it up and just laugh hysterically like you are when you're making it?
Immediately or eventually? Because eventually,
at any point,
everybody gets it, and eventually everybody gets it. But you know how you can get an iPhone and there's no instruction manual, and then over time you learn all the features. That's how the zine works.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Like, very intentionally. And what happened, like, I told you about our friend yesterday whose brain I was blowing up just because I was over posting. The way it works is I'll get these ideas, I'll make this content, and you guys see it as like a content explosion. You're like, oh my God, please go on vacation, or please go to Angie, go see Angie. But years later, when people scroll through, they find all that stuff. And so it's like oil coming out of the ground. It's very violent when it comes out of the ground, but when it gets shipped across state lines, it's all very calm and put together and in the tanker.
Oh my God.
And that's what happens when I like have a content explosion and I'm like just making stuff. It's ridiculous. I told you it's ridiculous, right?
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Are you wearing a Civil War pajama top?
because of this. It's,
I'm
like
waiting for it.
you
Were you
you
doing?
know
Were
you
yeah,
know
there
what
it is.
you know they were tired on Star Trek when they showed
Yeah,
up like this.
yeah. Like if you had a tin cup, if you had like a tin cup full of black coffee and that little biscuit of dry tack, I could, and if I listen, I could hear the drums in the background. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of because I live right next to Valley Forge Park. There's a lot of those reenactments, and those dudes take it up. They take it so serious. They don't mess around. Like people camp out there, and like they'll eat like a squirrel that they just caught, and it's when you talk to them, they're in character, so like they don't mess around, and it's something.
How do they talk? Do they talk with an accent or they talk
They
with different words?
they don't have an accent, but they talk as if like it's 1777 and the British are 15 miles away in Philly and they're bustling up their little cabin because the British could be showing up at any moment. You know what I mean? Like there's no breaking character. Like if you ask them like, hey, what'd you eat last night? Because you can ask them like anything and they'll be like, oh well, I had some Brunswick stew, and we licked the dirt off a rock, and my feet are infected, and I can't walk anywhere. Like, but they'll be wearing that pajama top you got on, the Revolutionary War pajama top.
So, can we get some of those guys on the show? Like, how could they? Could we make a contraption that's like it's like a magical top hat, like how Joseph Smith like found the magical plates that contain the basis of Mormonism,
Oh God!
and then they can just look through it and see us like from the future and talk with us. Because
I don't. Yeah,
the
they
thing about my foot is infected.
My foot's infected. I had to take a bloody boot off a dead soldier and put my infected foot in it just so I could walk down to the river and get some water for my horse. Oh.
I mean, we need those people, and I'm not
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah.
I think now they are more popular and needed than ever.
Yeah, well, it's all gonna die. It's all gonna die. It's all gonna be gone. Like one more generation, and no one's gonna give a hoot. Like I wouldn't be able to take my son over to Valley Forge Park right now, and show him how the Revolutionary soldiers worked and why they were camped out in Valley Forge and what they were fighting for. He has zero interest in that. He could care less. But when I was a kid, we'd go over there all the time, and we were like, "Holy shit, this is crazy! Like this guy's George Washington and blah blah blah." So, homie,
When
don't
you were
play that.
kids, you went over there?
Oh yeah, Valley Forge Park. I live on Valley Forge Road. Like I live like right next to Valley Forge Park, so everything around here is Valley Forge, and there's like a big museum, and like when you're a kid, you grow up and you go to Valley Forge because there's like you can ride mountain bikes there, you can ride horses, there's the Schuylkill River's there, you can go hiking, and there's all kinds of shit to do. And so when I was a kid, my dad, every Saturday and Sunday, we would just go over. My dad would just load up the family truckster, and we'd go over there all day and just run around because it's free. You just walk around and do whatever. So, and then every time, like in the summer when you're there, they always have like you'll be like walking around, and there'd be like a cabin with some smoke coming out of it, and there's some actor in there acting as if it's 1777 and they're getting ready to fight.
So here's the plan when Todd and I come out to make the couch for it.
Couch for it.
we talk to the guys at the Valley Forge guys.
Okay, well, yeah, you have to
and we get
schedule.
tips.
Yeah. on how to build it, on how to build the fort.
on how to build the fort, but we'll ask him about how to build the fort, but then we'll eventually tell him about the materials we have, which are quilts and folding and card tables.
I have a piece of a roll top desk, and I have the here's the best part. The best part is when Elliot would come down here with his friends and they'd build their fort, we had the screen to an old TV. So it's like a 60-inch screen, and we'd like incorporate that into it to have like a window. So we'd have a window fort. You know what I mean? It'd be pretty crazy.
That's just so cool.
Yeah. I'm in the fort room right now. Like, this is our downstairs, and it's just like, it's supposed to be like a nice.
Hey, hold on just 1 second. I
Hit
gotta
it.
talk to.
Go ahead, do your stuff.
Hey, sugar. Okay.
Do you think there's any connection that my dog's name is Sugar and you call your wife Sugar? Think there's any connection there?
Yes. And I'll tell you what I think the connection is.
Yes.
You and I are both exceptionally nice people. and what the people we care about, we make sure that in every word we give to them is gift wrapped.
Is gift wrapped. Wow. I gotta think of that for a second. I gotta think about that. That every word is gift wrapped. All right. Well, Sugar, when we got our dog Sugar, her name was already Sugar, though. That could even be another layer of the stoke, as you would say.
It Frog Bars brings it to a convergence.
Yeah.
Brings it together.
See, I have one of my many rules. I have a lot of rules in my life that mean nothing. But one of my rules is if you get a pet and it already has a name, you have to keep that name.
Yep.
I don't care if they name it something ridiculous. If you adopt a pet or you acquire a pet and they're like, this is my dog, Melba Toast, you have to be like, okay, my dog's name is now Melba Toast. Can't change it because, you got to keep that name. I think I get that from Roots. From like, I was a big fan of Roots when I was a kid, watching the mini series Roots. Did you ever watch Roots?
No, I didn't.
You never watched Roots in the 70s?
No, I think
early. What?
I think my parents may have obscured that part of history from me.
No, it's so good. It's so good. And it's really sad, but it's for even like back, for back then, I was like, I guess like I was like in 6th or 7th grade. And I think if my son watched it right now, he'd just be like, whatever. He wouldn't even be able to get through it. But I loved it, like I'll watch it now if it ever comes on, because it's like a 10-part series or something. But
well, like my dad, I was drawn to, I don't know, but I don't know if I was encouraged to watch like Rambo, First Dawn. Once on Christmas, I watched Born on the 4th of July.
Do you mean Red Dawn? Do you mean Red Dawn or
what did I say?
Red Dawn. You said First Dawn.
I'm sorry. First Blood, Red Dawn, Rambo. Yeah, like my dad was.
The first Rambo is the greatest movie ever, by the way. First Blood. That's what it's really called, First Blood. It's the greatest movie ever. Me and Scott Pound can sit there and just quote it word for word.
Sylvester Stallone is no joke. He's exceptionally talented, and he made good movies that were needed by the anti-communist propaganda machine.
Did you ever see Rambo? Like, did you ever see First Blood? Like, did you ever watch the whole thing?
I watched Rambo more than I watched First Blood, but I have seen First Blood, yeah.
Well, First Blood, the best part about that, and I found out in in an interview, was that when they first did First Blood, Sylvester Stallone and his investor tried to buy it to get rid of it because it was so bad. And somebody else was like, hey, wait a minute. Don't get rid of it. Don't buy it and destroy it. This is like after they shot it, edited it, and all that stuff. He goes, go back and just take out all your dialogue. And he's like, what? Take out all your dialogue. You only need to say like 26 words in this movie. Take everything out. So, because what it was is he was supposed to be like a wise ass drifter. So like when they go, hey boy, you smell like a pig, like you haven't taken a bath. Then he would say, oh yeah, well, I smell like your mom. And they're like, that's what the movie was. And then they're like, okay, now do it without him replying to it. Boy, you smell like a pig. And then he just stares at him. Then they go to like the next scene. So it's like all the shit's building up. And then it went from they were never even going to release it to being one of the biggest films ever, all because one dude had the sense to say, hey, take out all your dialogue. Isn't that crazy how shit can change like that?
I mean, shit can change when talented people speak up.
Yeah.
And then go and do
without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. Wow. And where did you learn that piece of trivia? I'm sorry. What newspaper article blew across your visual region that you memorized?
It was a Howard Stern interview, I believe. I used to listen to Howard Stern every day. I had like Sirius radio and I'd be driving around for work. And then I would listen to Howard Stern religiously. But I didn't start listening to it until they got on. I listened to it a little bit, but once he got on Sirius, then I listened to it, because when you're on Sirius, you can pause it. So this way I could pause it and go do my shit. And then I could actually listen to the whole show, because the thing that bugged me about Howard Stern was I'd be driving around, and then I'd be in the middle of like a very interesting thing, and then I'd have to go in and go do something, and I'd be out of my vehicle for like 40 minutes, and I'd miss everything. So once I got serious, I could just hit pause, and I thought I never thought Jackie Martling was very funny. I didn't like him at all. I thought he was kind of annoying. But when they got Artie used to make me, I thought Artie was hilarious. So when they had Artie Lang on, it was great. And then once he left, I just got rid of it.
Did I ever tell you my story of Jeff Schick?
I don't know who Jeff Schick is.
Oh my God. So before it, and I want to say that maybe they had, okay, so Jeff Schick was Howard Stern's IBM sales guy. And Howard Stern, you know how they would say, when you say, what page is it, Baba Booey? And he goes, Gary preview page for third row down. Well, that was a piece of software called Lotus Notes, and you could do email on it, and then you could like give people memos, and it was like pre-internet. Right. Well, Howard Stern loved the IBM operating system OS2. He hated Windows, and he loved Lotus Notes, and he loved his sales guy, Jeff Schick. And so he would call Jeff Schick randomly. And for years, as I was listening to Howard Stern on regular terrestrial radio, and then also later on Sirius, I would listen to him call Jeff Schick from IBM. So years later, I'm working for a company, and like IBM buys the company, and we start getting like IBM people coming into the office and stuff like that. And we had a cafeteria, and I was in line to check out, and I hear this guy go, J Schick at IBM us.ibm.com, and I go,
I know
look
that name.
over, and he notices me, and then he gets in line, and I let the other person go in front of me, and so he's next to me in line, and I go, are you? And he goes, yes.
Yes.
And I go, holy smokes, can I get a selfie? And so I take a picture with him, and he goes, hey, next time you're in New York, let's go see Howard. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh, and he just met you and got a
Just met
selfie.
me.
He's now inviting you.
And now he's inviting me to go visit Howard. And he go, so you know the IBM Watson computer that won Jeopardy?
No.
Okay, well, IBM would do these big media things. Like they had this computer they called Deep Blue, and they taught it to play chess, and then it played Garry Kasparov, and eventually Garry Kasparov just got exhausted and gave up, or like the computer won because it just brute forced him. Well, they did that same thing with Jeopardy. They pointed a computer called Watson at Wikipedia, and then they taught it how to basically like bet, like how much you would wager at the daily doubles or whatever, and it won Jeopardy. So he had this, he's like, hey, we had some Watson development in that building that I worked out of. And he goes, and he was there for something. He goes, hey, we're gonna play all the old tapes in Watson, and then we're gonna make a Watson where people can go ask shit about the show, like trivia.
No. Yeah.
It never ended up happening. But I was like, dude. And so there's this like Google a couple of weeks ago, Google released this question and answer engine that is just like absolutely fascinating, but it has that same type of capability. Like I asked it, who is Baba Booey?
Yeah.
And it told the whole story. I think there was like one sentence that I doubted, but yeah. So IBM, Jeff Schick, Howard Stern.
So you never got to meet Howard Stern, did you?
No, I left. I left. And it was weird. Like, I was like, am I just going to make some BS excuse to go to, like, I hadn't talked to him after that.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know.
I mean,
I would have.
Would you really, but like, I myself, like, if you were like right now, hey, Ray, you can drive like an hour and meet me in York, and you can meet Howard Stern. I wouldn't be dying to meet Howard Stern. Like, what would I do? Like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like,
that's the thing.
There's a difference. Like just meeting somebody, hi, how you doing? That's beat. Like, I can't do that. Like, that's just like kind of lame because you get nothing out of it. But if you're like, hey, we're gonna go, like, if you can sit and interact with the dude and talk to him and be a part of something, like, hey, we're going here and he's gonna go. It's just like with our friend our friend that we were with yesterday, who's like best friends with Bradley Cooper, like if we went somewhere and we're like, hey, we're just gonna meet Bradley Cooper and hey, how you doing? And shake his hand high, and then he walks away, that's beat. Like that's lame. But if he was like, hey, he's gonna go to breakfast with us, and we're gonna sit down, then it's worth it. You know what I mean? It's it's almost
Totally.
like me going. It's almost like me going like, hey, like my time's worth a little more than just meeting somebody. I want to sit down and I mean like and like the thing is all I want to do is if I was in that situation is just make fun of the person. Like I could find things to make fun of Howard Stern right to his face. Or Bradley Cooper or anybody. Like that's my
Wait,
thing. Like I like picking on people.
wait a second.
Yeah.
You want me to drive an hour
To go, yeah.
to say hi to Howard Stern and you're not paying me anything?
I don't need to get paid. I don't need to get paid. I just need something like
You're being
Warren and I,
you have to be incented. I get it.
yeah,
I'm with you, because otherwise it's just like, what are you gonna like have a bunch of cameras around for like people driving an hour to come kiss the ring of Howard Stern?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. I can't do that. Like I
screw
can't.
that.
Yeah. Well, one day Warren and I were talking about this, where Warren has these friends that lived in Manhattan, and he would once a year he would go visit them, but he would go on like a Wednesday night. So he would like leave work at 5, drive to Manhattan, go have dinner with these dudes, and then come home, and it would be like 1 in the morning when he got home. And I would be like, there's nothing in Manhattan or anybody I would go see. Like you can see these people at any time, anywhere. Why would you go like and so Warren came up with the thing. He goes, what would have to be going on in Manhattan on a Wednesday for you to go there, do something, come home? And we came up with like it'd have to be something like what we just talked about. It'd have to be like somebody I'd really be interested in. And it'd have to be a sit down like at the table. It wouldn't be just like a hello or whatever. And then less than a year later, it happened. Our friend Alan Cook, who I don't know if you know who Alan Cook is. He was a
Mhm.
dirt jumper,
Superman
and
backflip.
yeah, and yeah. The only BMX bike I have is his. I have one BMX bike left, and it's the one that he gave me. But so he calls us one day and he goes, "Hey, tomorrow I'm gonna be in Manhattan," and it was on a Wednesday. He's like, I'm gonna be in Manhattan tomorrow night at a Bell Helmet museum or a Bell Helmet show, and there's gonna be all Evil Knievel shit, like his bike, all his helmets and his
Wow.
uniforms,
Mhm.
and everybody that works at Bell is gonna be there. And so we were like, I'm like, I'll have to go. I'm like, when am I gonna see Evil Knievel shit ever again?
Mhm.
And plus go to see Alan or whatever. So we went, and
Mhm.
I went on a Wednesday night and went to Manhattan and went and hung out and held Evil Knievel's helmet. But
Oh, they let you touch it.
oh yeah. The guy who painted it was there, and he like held the helmet with you, and you could get your picture taken with him.
Wow.
And but it was pretty fun. But yeah, that's the only thing that would get me to go to Manhattan. On a Wednesday night.
It's such a pain. Like I'm going there for the week of January like 20th or something.
Yeah,
There's a big retail conference, and so I'll be there. But the thing about like Manhattan is like if you're there with people, they're like, oh, come on, let's go to this whatever spot. But like you're walking 5-6 blocks
yeah,
tops. So like when I've gone and I've gone with people, it hasn't been like, oh, let's go to Battery Park. Oh, let's go to
yeah,
the upper West Side. It's like, oh, hey, we're gonna be in Chelsea. and we're going to be in this spot in Chelsea,
Yeah.
and that's it. Like
Nowhere
you're not
else.
riding the subway, you're not taking long
Yeah.
cab rides.
Yeah.
It's everything that's walkable. And and then like when we go there for this retail show, it's Midtown in July, or
Yeah.
Midtown Times Square in July, which why would you ever do that? Like,
It's
why would you ever get dialed to see people and then go walk?
yeah.
So dumb.
Yeah, Manhattan. Oh man, Manhattan in the summertime. We were just there a few years ago. We took Elliot to see like New York City. We did the whole like Statue of Liberty, and we went to see. I went to a show, the like first show I ever went to in my life. We went to see The Lion King,
Mm.
and but we had to walk. We for some reason we walked from our hotel to where it was, and it was like 11 blocks, and it was like 99 degrees with like 95% humidity, and like by the time we got there I was like soaking wet. I'm like I'm like soaking wet. It was a mess, but oh yeah.
When Angie and I went there, this one time I had like an IBM managers training in White Plains, and so we took a train or something, maybe we took a cab into Manhattan, and like we went all over the island, and we went to the Seinfeld diner,
Oh
which
yeah.
is cool. I mean, it looks like the Seinfeld diner on the outside, but the inside
Yeah. It's different.
does not
Yeah.
look like
Nothing like it.
not at all. I was looking for Kenny Kramer's tour guide. Like, maybe that's what we should do is for the show, is make some type of convince Dave to make a tour, like a tour bus of
Ooh.
all the stories that we tell on the show, and
Yeah.
get him to do it in the style of actual Kenny Kramer doing the Seinfeld show
The Seinfeld.
bus tour.
I don't know if Dave would do that.
I don't know that.
So wait,
either.
is Factor Freestyle officially called Eddie Fiola's Factor Freestyle?
Yes. We've only discussed this over text, and I think now's the time for us
But
to actually talk about it.
the funniest thing, I don't know why I think of this all the time. Like I've went back to it like 6 times. I picture us sitting in that restaurant in the hotel, and as Eddie walked away, you went, Ray, did Eddie just pitch our show to us? Or did Eddie just pitch Factor Freestyle to us? And I'm like, yes. And you're like, awesome. Like it was almost like, as the thing is, it would have been funny if Eddie said that just because he was fucking with us, but it was even funnier because I don't think he was fucking with us. He was like, we should sit down and just talk, and we could videotape it. Like, don't we kind of already do that? Like, oh, it was so funny. But then you could just say like Eddie came up with the show. Oh,
It's like
Dave
Eddie's
Norris.
reality distortion fuel. He's going to try to convince us that he in fact had been pulling the strings all along.
Eddie Fiola's Factor Free. Does Eddie know that it's called Eddie Fiola's Factor Freestyle? That's the part. Like
Eddie will receive Eddie his. So I mailed a zine to their shop, and it was addressed to Eddie, his A. Claire, Mindy, and Kid.
Yeah, who's Mindy? That's his wife, or did you send it to his house?
So this is what
you
I
always
learned.
say that you always say he has people, like he has like a business partner. What business does he do that he has a business partner?
Okay, So remember that couple who was at the table that Eddie came over from? Okay, his name is Kid Fruman. And Kid Fruman does all sorts of like very unusual cars. He's like an auto body shop.
Okay.
And so he makes cars for like rich dudes who buy weird cars and say, hey, I want this thing actually to look more like a Homer Simpson car. And then Kid does it. Mindy is his wife. She does a variety of things, including a lot of the graphic design work in other, like she does lots of graphic design work. She does lots of other fabrication. Eddie bought in to their business, and now Eddie is business partners with them. So Eddie will install solar panels on the top of a car. Eddie will cut cars in half, and Kid will weld them back together. Eddie, I presume, brings in business, but these guys also, because they have a shop, they have like I don't know if they do vinyl wrap, but they have like printing stuff, and so including shirts. And so Eddie being in business with them means that Eddie makes money not just on the licensing of the Eddie Fiola graphic, but Eddie makes money on the actual printing of it. I mean, the only thing Eddie doesn't own right now is a cotton field.
A cotton field.
But like Eddie Fiola is partnering with businesses all the way down like the supply chain. It's like he's Standard Oil. And so
is he living off the Eddie Fiola name? Like how much Eddie Fiola do you need? You know what I mean? Like how I
believe Eddie has multiple streams of income, some of which is the Eddie Fiola BMX. Eddie was showing me behind the scenes footy of Wee Man getting blowed up on the set of Jackass, and actually burned because they the guys who mixed the material that like blew up, because like that one scene when he was on the top of the movie theater billboard, when that blew up and they threw him, like that explosion was way larger than they expected, because they had two guys setting it up. One guy had the explosives and the other guy had a bunch of sawdust. And the mixture, like there was way too much sawdust for the amount of explosion they had. And that burned Wee Man. Like kind of badly.
Yeah.
But Eddie was there filming it because Eddie was one of the soldiers, or there was one scene where Eddie was one of the soldiers, and he's like, the goo that they were shooting on all of them, he's like, he fell down kind of like not exactly off camera, but like farther away, because he didn't want to get the goo on him. And he was just laying there, quiet as he could be. And then Spike goes, hey, that guy doesn't have any stuff on him. Go get him. And he dunked the stuff, and it hit him in the face. And he's like, oh, and they go, don't worry, it's organic. And he's like, oh, that's not what I wanted to hear. Like that's the kind of stuff that you want to be synthetic.
Did Spike Jones know it was Eddie Fiola? Okay.
Yeah, I think he might. The way I recall Eddie saying it was, Spike said Eddie doesn't have anything on him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh man.
I know. So that's like Eddie. So when I pitch them anything, I have a group text that has Eddie, Kid, and Mindy on it.
Yeah.
And all of these ideas I tell them, and then I'll wait to get a thumbs up from one of them. But I'm never getting thumbs up from Eddie, which I don't care, because as long as I can get Kid or Mindy stoked on the idea, Eddie comes
Yeah.
along for the ride, which
Yeah.
basically means we can do anything. Like, Eddie is one of our action figures in this little diorama that we're playing. And he loves it because, like, it's just his name. He just wants to see his name
Once
on
his name,
stuff.
yeah. Well, I mean, his book is When I Was King. That's unbelievable. Isn't that crazy? To put a book out that says When I Was King. I mean, I get the whole king of the skate park, but I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. And
When
what's he gonna say?
yeah, when Mark Eaton was doing Joe Kid on a Stingray, I was looking at all the. I actually had a job that I didn't do, but I was going to be, because after about a minute I couldn't do it. I was just like, all right, I can't do this. When Joe Kid, no, I got hired. I was hired by Mark Eaton and John Swar to do a job during the production of Joe Kid. My job was to listen, to watch every interview, and if like for say Eddie's, if every time Eddie said King of the Skate Park, I'd be like 125. That's like when he said it, 125. And then further down, yeah. So then if he was like talking about being on GT, if he said the word GT, I'd be like, oh, he said GT at 5, blah blah blah. So that was my job. So I did it for like Harry Leary. Like, Harry Leary's interview was awesome. I did it for Wilkerson's. His interview was awesome. RL's was awesome. I got to Eddie Fiola's and I turned it off after the after 3 minutes, because they asked him, who was your biggest influence? And what did he say?
He said me.
He said
himself.
Myself. And I turned it off. I said, I'm not sitting through this. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And I quit. Eddie Fiola made me quit. Eddie Fiola made me quit working on Joe Kid, because after I heard that, I'm like, I'm done with this. I mean, I was done with it already, because I was doing it and I wasn't into it. But that was the straw that broke the camel's back, when my biggest influence is myself.
Didn't Snoop Dogg do an acceptance speech where he said, I want to thank myself.
Yeah, thank myself, yeah.
For waking up and doing all this hard work.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, he thanked himself. But that's different. That's Snoop. Snoop's way cooler than Eddie Fiola, you know what I mean?
So this is legitimately Eddie Fiola's factOrFreestyle. I cannot get enough of it. I tag I tag Eddie. So now, like, Eddie's going to have to issue a cease and desist letter to stop using his name in everything. He has to know what he got himself into, right? You don't think that?
But I think he likes it. I think anytime you can put his name on out there, he's in. You know, don't you think?
I mean, if that's the angle, that's so amazing.
Huh. All right.
So Bill is like, hey, what are you using that footage for? And I was like an actual show episode. Like, the name of the show is Scott Powell Watches Circle of Balance.
So what? So Bill's freaking out because of his marijuana use.
I don't know if he's freaking out, but it didn't occur to him that we were actually like he wasn't conducting himself like he was on a
Right.
recorded show.
He would have had a different robe on, maybe, if he knew.
He
He would have had. He wouldn't have had just the plain white terry cloth on. Dude, it was so funny. Last night when I came home and I clicked on and I saw Bill with the bathrobe, I was still talking. I was talking to my wife because I just walked in and she heard me talking about the bathrobe and she goes, "Oh, but while I was on," she goes, "Oh, I was at the store today and I bought a bathrobe for some nieces of ours." And she goes, "I got this big bathrobe," and held it up. She's like, "Nah, Ray would never wear this," and she put it back. So my wife almost bought me a bathrobe the same day that Bill Mesquite was wearing a bathrobe.
Oh,
You'll never see. I would never wear a bathrobe. There is no bathrobe in my future. Like my neighbor goes and gets his like mail in the morning or something, or he walks down the driveway in a big bathrobe. I'm just like, dude,
you know,
I'm just not a bathrobe. I'm not a bathrobe guy.
I don't think that bathrobes should be used like outside the house.
Yeah, I don't think it should be used inside the house either. Do you wait? Do you have a bathrobe? This is going to be the funniest thing ever. Do you own a bathrobe?
No.
Do you have access to a bathrobe?
Nope, not right now.
Okay.
At one point I did. Like I actually had rented an apartment and it came with a bathrobe because they were like, "Oh, welcome to your new home and here's your new, bathrobe." So
and at one point, did
fancy.
you like put it on? Did you put it on at one point? You like, I'm gonna put the bathrobe on?
Yeah, I was like, "Yo, I got a bathrobe. I'm moving on up like the Jeffersons."
Yeah, that is something. The bathrobe.
But like it didn't stick. You know how like some things definitely stick in your life? That did not stick in my life.
Huh. It's kind of like me in a winter coat. I don't own a winter coat. Living out here in this nonsense. When I was a kid, my dad, I think I was in 11th grade, and my dad said that he got a call at work from the school because they wanted to know if everything was okay because I didn't have a winter coat. Somebody brought it to their attention that I didn't have a winter coat because I wouldn't wear a winter. Oh, if you knew the problems of when I was a kid with clothing, you would die. I when I was a kid, when I was like in 11th grade, I only could find one pair of pants that fit. Back then, back in the 80s, they didn't make like triple X shirts or clothes. Like finding a shirt that was double X was very hard to find. Like you'd have to go to like the big and tall stores and they didn't have that kind of stuff. And I had one pair of pants, maybe two pair of pants, but I only wore like one pair, and then whatever shirts. And then I didn't have a jacket just because I never wore a jacket. And my dad was like, "Hey, we need to go to the mall and get you a jacket because the school thinks that you don't have a jacket." So I got a jacket. My dad's like, "Just bring it in and just like hang it up or something." And I think I took it to school and it got stolen. I think I brought it to school and somebody took it. But I like, even now, like I like last night it was freezing. I just wore two hoodies, or as the people from Australia call it, a jumper.
A jumper.
A jumper. Hey, don't get that on there. You're gonna ruin my jumper. Yeah.
They call them bunny hugs in Canada, and I think the bunny hug is the one that it's a pullover, that it doesn't have a zipper.
The zipper, yeah. Well, I had 2 bunny hugs on last night. Yeah.
Double bunny hug.
Double bunny hug, man.
Well, there you go. You went down the
Yeah.
the bunny hole.
So here's the thing. What do you got to do today? How's the new house? That's my real question. How's the new house? And I saw no propane tank yesterday.
No propane tank. We
There's no
actually have
propane tank?
gas. Yeah,
Oh, you lucky son of a bitch.
it has city water. Yeah, it's good. We're meeting with the architect on December 30th.
To do
We
what?
gotta take out walls and stuff like that because the guy we bought it from was a realtor, and he, in the upstairs, he put like a ton of rooms, but the layout is all weird, and he had daughters, and he's like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna make a Jack and Jill door so my daughters can run into one another's rooms. And it's like, what? It's just a very, very strange layout.
Yeah.
And then it's built like into a hill. So it's, in some ways, it resembles like a split level.
Yeah.
But because the house is here and then the hill goes like this, on the upstairs, you can walk outside to kind of like a patio area that's like, you know, a not a terrace, but like a layer of the hill, and then you can go downstairs and do basically the same thing. And so there's the oddity is that on the upstairs, the second floor, you have a door that goes to the outside.
Oh wow, that's weird.
And if you're at the top of the hill is a church, but if you locked all the other doors except for that door, you could run up the hill, run down the hill, hop a little bit of a fence, and then go in the door.
And go in.
And so Angie's like, we're gonna redo all of the hallways and stuff like that. And the guy would have he would do lots of entertainment. He's like, oh yeah, you can have dinner parties with 50 people. And we're like,
I don't know about
what?
that.
Why would you have 50 people in your house? But like all he did was, it's like a Great Gatsby house. We don't know what is up with this dude, but we're like, nope. And so it's just going to be taking walls out and moving stuff around. So fortunately, we have that other rental that we were going to use when we were going to like remodel this place.
You're never getting rid of the Thunderdome, are you?
No, we're going to wait for the city to buy it from us, because we discovered we discovered during the course of planning to renovate this, we discovered the city was going to widen the road. And it's going to be like inches from the front door. And we're like, well, is it even legal to have a house 2 inches from a road? I don't think it is, especially not a 4-lane road with,
well, all they do
lights.
is give you fair market value. They're not going to be like, here's $6 million,
which is interesting, because when I bought the house, it sat between 2 farm fields. But I can look down now and I can see that they're developing all of that with like not townhomes, but like, I guess townhomes to condominium type things. The Intel plant is 10 miles from here. They broke ground on it. So the Thunderdome at some point is going to be
a parking lot for a
developed,
church that no one's going to go to.
Something like that. So
where are you going to do your front wheel? Where are you going to do all your front wheel tricks? You're gonna, oh my God, you're gonna have to retire from Flatland.
Nope.
You're gonna have to retire.
Nope. Maybe I'll make an underground Morton building down by the river.
What?
On the in the backyard of the new spot. But like that's the other option is when this thing, you know, goes. I would love to build a Morton building sort of
What's a Morton
into the
building
hill.
mean? What's a
Oh,
Morton
more.
building?
So you know the buildings at Woodward that house the ramps, those are
Yes.
prefabricated by a company
Just
called Morton,
okay, I got you.
and that's what they call them. They call them
Yeah.
Morton buildings.
Okay. All right, that makes
Uh-huh.
sense.
So that's
Would you
the
then
long-term directional plan.
would you then have to give that building a new name? I know you like naming shit, so you'd have to give it a new name, right?
Well, they're all pterodomes. The
Why
third
the
one,
name Terror? Why the name Terror? Why all the violence in Flatland? Flatland assassin, terror. Why
okay,
is everything so angry?
so it's not actually terror, it's terra,
Oh.
as in
Terra.
TERRA,
What's
like
that mean?
land, you know, like terracotta, terraforming is like
Oh.
land. Okay.
Oh.
And then dome is, you know,
It
an
has a roof on
enclosure.
it.
And so it's a portmanteau, but it had a really nice ring to it because of the Public Enemy song.
Can I still call it Thunderworld?
I would be disappointed if you ever stopped calling it Thunderworld. It's so funny to me to get text and it's the front wheel nonsense, Thunderworld or whatever you call it, sports science laboratory.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, all of this nonsense happens, like, is conceived of when there's like dudes having a session and we're like super stoked and like, hey, what should we do? Like, Andy Johnson and I were walking around Terradome 1, or what became Terradome 1, and we got this idea, and the name was born, and then we gave it a character, and then like the Terradome becomes a character in our lore, and I give it, you know, I talk about how it's magical and stuff like that, and there's alien superpowers, and then all of a sudden dudes are like, oh yeah, the Terradome, yeah, weird stuff
Terradome,
happens. And like when I like hunker down to learn some new tricks, I go through this process of like actually burning incense and make like ascribing magic to everything. Now the guys that I've been riding with for years, they have seen like several cycles of this shit since like 2008. They have seen several cycles of this, and like Todd and Andy Johnson, and we will collaborate on all this stuff. And the dude, Scott Nagy here in town, who's like actually forges knives in his garage with,
I love that kind of stuff.
yes,
I love that kind of stuff. I have a large knife collection.
really.
I don't collect that. Yeah, I don't really get stuff now, but at like one point, well, when I was a kid, every Christmas from the time I was like 5 until whenever, my dad always gave us a pocket knife and a rabbit's foot. So I always have like, I have like a million knives, but I'm not like the knife fanatic. Like I don't like I always have a knife in my pocket just because I use it every day.
We have
I'm
the
not a
same
fanatic
one,
about it.
actually. You and I have the same knife.
What is that one? I don't have that one.
I thought we did.
Is it a Gerber or Grubber or something?
It's a Kershaw.
I don't have that.
Oh, I thought you had that at Huck Jam. In any event.
Well, any event. No, it's the same wallet. It's the same
Well,
wallet.
I definitely know we have the same wallet. So Yeah, so these guys are used to my antics,
Yeah.
but every few years I've got some other project with another group of dudes, and like when I go back into the lab to invent some other trick and I start posting about it, they're like, what in the hell is going on? Like, so like Dax, Dr. Dax is now seeing some of this new hunkering down
Uh-oh.
of like the altar. Like I took the flatware, Odyssey flatware stickers, the die cut ones with individuals, and like I'll rearrange the letters. So like I have a bowl with salt that I put the incense in and it says altar on it. Or like this one time I got just ticked off that energy drinks, which are bad for kids, are everywhere.
Yeah.
And so I rearranged the flatware letters to water, and
Oh.
suddenly I was sponsored by water, and I was taking like the monster like claws and turning them upside down and they look like a W. Like
Oh yeah.
it's my like the Columbus crew is quite comfortable and used to these ridiculous antics, but not everyone who is a fan of Dave Norrie's Gumby, is prepared for that kind of shit.
Where's Dave's next journey to? What's his next fully paid for contest?
I don't know.
You gotta get the reclamation guy on Factor Freestyle. I gotta talk to him right now.
Yeah.
Get him on the phone now. I want to know what he gets out of flying Dave to all these things. It makes no sense. Makes zero sense.
I'm gonna hit him up right now. This is great.
Keep talking. I have to pee. I can hear you. I'm only going a step away. Oh, I just want to find out. I want to. Where's reclamation located? Like, where is it?
Denver. Yeah.
I want to take a tour of his sex shop with Dave. Make Dave carry around a big dildo while we're talking.
What's pretty incredible is you are mic'd. And
I am mic'd.
You're about to pee, which is like the best.
No, I'm not about to pee. I'm high arcing it right now.
Oh. All right. I'm gonna ask Fred Gates, and I'm gonna ask Robert as well, because we might get one or two of a couple of them. Can you guys quickly join me and Ray?
Eddie Fiola's Factor Freestyle. Oh, Shaggy Bear, where you going? Come here. Hello, baby girl. Who's the baby? What's your fake little baby dog?
I'm gonna tell him. Okay, there you go.
So wait, who'd you just contact? What are you talking about?
Okay, so I just invited Fred Gates and Robert Riley to this.
Now, who are these people?
Fred Gates is the dildo
reclamation dildo man.
Let me say it differently.
And then who's the other guy?
His partner. Now, Robert Riley owns Denver Electric, and the two of them have been friends for like decades.
Are they a couple?
So, no, not to my knowledge. I don't believe they are.
What's Denver Electric? Is it like a big company, like an electrical company? So
it's an electrical contractor.
Are they rolling in dough? I think Dave likes to put himself with people that are rolling in dough, don't you think? Dave likes a really wealthy friend, right?
Do you think that's why Dave likes me? Because I was spending so much time with fake money and like other people's pictures of. Hey, Robert.
What's up? up, Ray?
How's it going?
Hey, what's up?
I'm in New York, family.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
We wanted to, so we were doing this after show where we talk about what happened in Circle of Balance, and we have a group text with me, Ray, Todd, and Dave, and something happened on it yesterday that was so funny. Dave got that, so the pre-jam was supposed to be 2 days,
Right.
and we saw the footage from the 16th, and then when Dave showed up at the spot on the 17th, there was no one there.
Right.
And we
Except for
know
Art,
that,
yes, or something like that.
oh, okay, yeah, maybe like one dude.
Yeah.
And so the question that Ray had, which was a good question, we didn't know the answer to it. He goes, wait a second. Dave, Reclamation Bikes flew Dave to a pre-jam that no one attended. How is it? What is Dave getting paid to do exactly? And so that's what we wanted to understand.
Well, the thing about
Ray, did I get that all right?
yeah, you know,
I wanted to know who's paying. Why is somebody flying Dave places? What are they getting out of Dave being places for them, or
and
them paying for him?
the whole reclamation thing is promoting the sport. It's not about making money.
Right.
It's about the longevity of the sport that was created here. And obviously you can see now it's bigger over across the pond than it is here. And if we don't do something, we're not going to have a sport here in the US. You know, it's dwindling. And the idea with Dave is he's an amazing promoter. He is amazing with kids, and you know, we got to grow from within. You know, I mean, just, you know, when we were kids, we all did it, you know, and we're looking, you know, I mean, we haven't made a dime off reclamation, nothing. We promote the riders. We make sure they get to places so they can become champions. You know, I mean, one day it may make money, but that's not our goal. We have other companies that make us money so we can do this. I don't want to say this is a hobby, but this is what my partner, Fred Gates here, that we do this with, is he did for me when I was a kid. You know, he flew me around the world and the country, and
oh, wow,
I got to do things. So now we're doing that for riders that need to do it. JF's on tour. We fly Dub around. We take Dave out and about. We just did a pad in the Nowhere Jam, 40x40 pad, so they can ride Flatland there. So the idea is to grow the sport. We're working on schools. You know, this is the idea with reclamation bikes, and that's why we do it. You know, and a lot of these riders, you know, half the battle is just getting to the event. The rest is on them. You know, just like we were when we were kids. If you could get to the event, you had every opportunity to win it, you know, or do whatever you want in a career, you know, and that's what we're doing as far as here is with reclamation bikes. And I'd love to have been there, but I planned this trip with my girls months and months ago. It sure was fun watching it on TV, though.
Would you think of it as philanthropic?
Is what?
Philanthropic, like
what's that mean? Oh, philanthropy.
So philanthropy, there's 3 ways to, as I understand it, there's 3 ways to get things done in the world. First is through, in no particular order. 1 is through government. 2 is through private for-profit enterprise. And then there is an enterprise that is expressly not for profit, but it's not classified as not for profit. It's also not charity, because charity is like throw money into a bin and somebody else does it. But philanthropy is when you actively direct funds to a particular outcome, and the outcome is something that benefits, it's a societal outcome that neither government nor the free market, profit driven free market has been able to solve. And so you go and do it philanthropically.
Call it passing the torch.
Torch passing.
That's it. Growing the sport, making it better, leaving it for future generations. So when we can't ride, we have something to watch and enjoy. Because this is obviously the best sport in the world, period. It's the hardest, And
oh, wait a second. You said something that I thought was really interesting. What you're saying is, I'm going to be an old man. I still like riding. I need someone to entertain me with good riding when I'm old. And I can buy into that 1,000%.
Yeah.
Hey, I enjoy. I don't care what level a rider is. I mean, we started this whole thing with the Colorado Flatland Jams just to get people to ride at any level, and then it turned into a company, and then here we are. And if we can help some riders out, grow the sport, then hey, that's all I'm here for. And I get to ride. I get to ride with some of the best people on the planet, and and hang out with old friends and enjoy the sport. That's the idea behind this whole thing.
Okay. So we have.
So he answered the question I've asked Dave about like 30 times in the past 4 years.
Yeah, Dave doesn't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Dave has no idea what you're doing. All he knows is that he gets to show up somewhere. Like, he cannot explain what you just explained. Have you told Dave this is what you're doing, or are you just?
Yeah, he knows what we do. We're working on some other stuff with him. Hopefully,
is he in the room when you say it, or is he capable of saying it back to you?
Oh, he can say it back to us. Yeah, absolutely. I like I said, I talked to him this morning. We're working on some other stuff with his school too. So hopefully that'll come out in the next few months and all that stuff. So we got a lot going on.
Has Dave told you about the zine?
I don't think he has. I heard about his sticker cards. He told me about that this morning. I need
Joe, you're thinking maybe he can get Dave to do the naked Gumby.
Oh my God.
Right now.
I'm thinking two things.
Dave still has to do a naked Gumby, and reclamation may be the thing that pushes him over the edge to get it done finally.
I can make him do it. Make him do it.
Are you familiar with the naked Gumby? The story of the naked Gumby. Are you familiar with the story of the naked Gumby?
I don't know. You might want to talk to Fred on that one. Fred toured.
Oh my God. So Ray, here's what's going on. Dave knows that the zine is an end-to-end telling of the story of the naked Gumby. It goes all the way back to 1983 in Germany, when they were doing a show on live TV. And Ron looks at Dave and goes, "Dave, go out there and do a naked Gumby." And Dave said no. And Brian goes, "I'll give you my truck." And Ron goes, "I'll give you $1,000. And
he did it, didn't he?
No, he didn't.
He didn't?
He didn't.
No.
He didn't. And we don't know why. So Ron has been mentioning the naked Gumby apparently for years. Well, it went dormant until the one time during COVID where Ron was on the show, and I was pitching to Ron my theory of what we call the Gumby vendetta, which was Dave actually practiced the Gumby in order to get back at Dean Palacio. And I said, "Ron, does this sound plausible?" And Ron just goes, "I only know about the first naked Gumby." And then Dave got super defensive, and I was like, "What's the story?" And Ron told it. And so Ron has been on, like at 20 in OSR 2021, I saw Ron at the after party and we started talking about the Naked Gumby, and he went and talked to Dave at the bar about the Naked Gumby for an hour. And I know this because the next day Ron told me that he did it. Then I walked up to Dave and Dave goes, "Oh, Ron was on me for like an hour about this Naked Gumby last night."
What?
And so I made the zine that actually told the story of the Naked Gumby, like the whole epic story. And you're telling me that Dave talked to you today. And by the way, I sent, if you look at the show Instagram, you'll see I sent copies of the zine to the guys at Circle of Balance because I could not be there.
Okay.
Dave talked to you this morning about plans and did not tell you about the zine, which I put together to raise funds for the tour.
Still asleep. He was still asleep. So I called and he picked up the phone. So that might be why. I was just seeing how excited he was and all that and what happened, just kind of catching up with him on that. So,
but I have been working my ass off for this zine to be a moneymaker, and Dave is actively.
Dave's not promoting it?
He's not promoting it. He's trying to bury the story, is what he's doing. He's like Twitter hiding conservative voices. So, Robert,
Twitter.
now that we have you,
Okay.
how can you help? So the idea with the zine, and I'm not even kidding.
Okay.
They are very high quality zines. They have ad space, okay, where you can put
And a fake
stickers
$100 bill.
and a fake $100 bill.
Okay.
And I am making them only available at in-person events or at in-person shops.
Are they
So
signed?
you can't. Yes, they are. They're autographed. I signed it and I used the Dave Norrie autograph stamp.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to touch base with him when I get back to Denver, and then we'll go from there.
So how do you think? Do you think that perhaps you could in some way help with the physical distribution of the zine in an effort to raise funds for the tour?
Could do that. Might be able to do that.
What would be your reservations?
I don't really have many reservations.
But
I got to talk to Dave first. I got to get the story. I got to see what happened. A lot happened.
Okay.
Wasn't
so
cameras.
Ray, what you're observing right now is Robert is very reluctant to cut a deal with me.
A little bit. I don't think you'll ever be able to get Dave to do a Naked Gumby, but I think other people, you know what I mean, will be able to get him to do it.
Well, I think we're going to get the tour. So if he wants the flights for the tour, we could take a Gumby.
Oh yeah, that's right. The flight. Let me tell the guys that I'm talking to you right now, and that the condition is the flights are tied to the Naked Gumby.
Oh my goodness. Joe, what if the whole tour depended on Dave doing a Naked Gumby? Like everything's ready. There's one sponsor, there's one person, there's one thing you need to do to get this rolling now, and you have to do the Naked Gumby. He doesn't do it. He wouldn't do it for $1,000 or a truck in 1984. What would make him do it now?
That's like the tour. What does he love more? Dave is going to have to love something more than he hates the Naked Gumby.
He loves being famous.
He does. That he does.
But I think maybe when you do if he does a naked Gumby, he's gonna have exposed cock balls and rectum. You know what I mean? I think maybe that's the part that he's not down with.
I have a plan for that actually.
Could he wear a little something? Could he wear a little cover up like they do in the movies? You know?
So Ray, you know how yesterday I told you that I might actually be dyslexic?
Yes.
Okay. Here's how I thought this through oppo. We are focusing on the problem of Dave's things being seen by many people. But if we flip it around, or because we're saying, well, maybe we can obscure Dave's things, we can actually control the number of eyeballs that are on Dave's things. And so imagine, if you will, a production that looks almost as large as the Circle of Balance. But what you have is a black screen, and it has one window, one peep window, kind of like, you know, when the camera operators at the football games have the hood sort of thing.
Yeah.
Ron Wilkerson looks through that.
Oh my God.
And there's another curtain behind it. Okay, so Ron's looking through here. In 6 feet in front of Ron, or 10 feet in front of Ron, there's another curtain. The curtain drops, and there is Dave Norrie in a naked Gumby, exposed to Ron for as long as it takes for Ron to validate that he's looking at a naked Gumby, and then the curtains close. The theater, people are buying seats to watch Ron's reaction to seeing a naked Gumby, and then they have an after party.
There's your VIP we talked about.
There's the VIP we talked about.
Oh wow, that's a good one. Yeah.
Hey
And
guys,
that would sell a lot of tickets.
I gotta go see the Rockettes here in about an hour.
The Rockettes.
Going to the Rockettes. Taking the girls. So thank you guys. I come up with some stuff. Hit me up anytime.
Cool.
You,
Thanks for jumping on. Nice talking to you.
Thanks, Fan.
Bye.
There it is. We just got one step closer.
Yep.
So that dude and the other dude own reclamation bikes.
Yes.
So how, like, what actual BMX bike parts do they manufacture and sell? Frame, fork, what's the
Frames, bars. So they have different people manufacture the bars. So like Dub's signature bars are made by Will Red. And you can tell that because they're only welds. They're no tubes are bent. Will Red doesn't have a pipe bender, so all of his bars are like James McGraw's London bikes signature bars are like 16-piece bars.
Oh God.
Yeah. Huh. Because they're basically welding material with a little bit of Rick Moliterno made some of the reclamation bikes that were basically like, from what I understand, it was the jig from the Trail Boss.
Okay.
And then what else do they make? I think they just make bars and frames.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, speaking of Rick Moliterno, my famous story of Dennis McCoy and Rick Moliterno doing that show in my gym.
Mm-hmm.
The past 2 weeks driving my son to school, I've been watching them demolish the school with like the big like crane, or like those big. The one day I was driving my son to school, and the new school is in the parking lot of the old school, basically. So they were knocking down. They took the walls out first and had the ceiling still there. So I could look in and see the actual gymnasium that they did the show in, and I'm like, oh my god, it's by tomorrow it's going to be gone. I like came back and it was demolished. But remember, Joe, nothing lasts forever. Remember that, okay? Write that down. Nothing lasts forever.
Nothing lasts forever except for memories. So you have to be able to build things on with memories as the foundation.
Yeah.
Because memories are the only things that are forever.
So it was gone.
Excellent.
But that's what I thought about when I was driving by. I was like, oh my God, that's where they did the show, the famous show, and it's gone now. But anyways, all right, Dave's going to be doing the Naked Gumby.
He's already resisting.
This may have been one of the most productive calls we've ever had.
It really is. It really has been. Like, we've covered a lot of really good ground. It was so great.
I would love to see, this would be the greatest if they're having the horror tour. So say they did, even say they did one show for the Back for More 24 thing, but they had Eddie Fiola incorporated in it somehow. Like Eddie Fiola's horror back, like
Eddie Fiola presents Back for More.
Eddie Fiola presents the horror, Team Horror.
You know what it might come down to? It might come down to so many people being willing to throw in money only if Dave actually makes a sacrifice and does the Naked Gumby. So just imagine that that of all of the people who have made sacrifices in their lives and have, are now rich fuckers, that they all want to teach Dave this lesson. Everybody withholds their money until Dave does the Naked Gumby for Ron. One event, $84,000. It's fully funded.
Oh man.
Dave's going to have to make that decision.
Yeah.
And we know that Dave has zero other options for funding the tour right now.
Yeah.
Like zero other options.
Yeah, he has zero options.
Like Dave has put zero effort into actually raising any money. You realize this? Like
I know. But
I have sold more.
Dave has he puts zero effort. And when he has these, that's why like when the meetings happen, they're so funny because Dave goes about it like, okay, guys, what are we doing? Who's in charge? How are we getting this? Who's calling that? What have we done so far to create this and that? And it's just kind of like the Charlie Brown thing going like wah 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 wah, because Dave's just like talk and it's funny because like Blyther's totally just along for the ride. You know what I mean? So
He doesn't believe this is going to happen. He just wants
not at all.
No,
dude, Blyther cracks me up, dude, because Blyther's just like, I'm in. You could. The funny thing about Blyther now, you could call Blyther, and if he had like 2 days he has nothing to do for 2 days, you could call him up and go, hey Blyther, we're gonna pick you up at your house, and we're gonna fly to like New Zealand and go, ice fishing. Not that they go ice fishing, but he's down for anything. He'd be like, all right, I'm in. Let's go. I can do it as long as I'm back in 3 days. So he's just along for the ride. And Dave just cracks me up when he's like, so what? And then I love it when he's like, and the GoFundMe has $86.44. and he's talking about he needs $500,000 to get everything right for the 6 shows. Japan, where is it? Japan, Australia, and England, or Germany, or whatever. Like Dave doesn't have the capabilities of Dave doesn't have the capability of getting 2 people together to go do a show at a 7-Eleven right now. He's talking about flying everybody to Japan to do this big show with a party. Like,
My favorite bait of him right now, and is when I very arrogantly and confidently say all of the things I'm doing to promote. Like,
oh yeah,
when
I'm doing this, I'm doing this. I got the go. Oh, yeah, I got the zine. I got the this.
I
got
put
that.
an arrogant tone on all of
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
and it gets Dave pissed, and then he basically says, "Joe, you're crazy," and I'm like,
Yeah.
all I have to do is get arrogant, and Dave calls me crazy. So then
Oh,
the reason it's so funny is because, and this is quite literal, every donation that has come in, okay,
yeah.
I have responded in Dave's voice. So
Right,
every
right, right.
person who has sent money, and by the way, I've watched when the money comes in, and guess
Yeah.
when the money comes in? The money comes in when I make a blast of funny web content and tag a bunch of
Yeah.
people and send stuff. So like literally, like the money comes in when I wake up early and I start banging away at Instagram. The money rolls
Yeah.
in. That's when the money comes in. And Dave tells me I'm crazy. And so
Yeah.
what I think is happening is Dave came up with this idea, got overstoked, told
Overstuffed?
people about it, and then realized how much work it would be and decided
Yeah.
he didn't want to do it. But
Yeah.
I'm doing it. And now I am causing Dave great stress by literally doing what he asked me to do,
He
that
asked
he
you to
now
do.
secretly doesn't want anyone to do.
Yeah.
Do you know how funny that is?
It's incredibly funny.
And now we're going to make him not only do the thing he doesn't want to do, which he doesn't want to go on tour and he's actively sabotaging it, but we're going to make him do
Yeah.
a Naked Gumby on top of it.
He's gonna have to do it. You know what you need to do? You need to hire somebody to organize and get the tour funding. Like, like if somebody has a business, somebody has a restaurant, and they're like, we just can't figure it out, and then they bring the guy in, he's like, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. You need an outside dude that knows nothing about BMX freestyle,
Yep.
but on how to extract the money from the people to get it into what Dave needs. There's got to be somebody out there that can figure it out. I'm not saying that what you're doing isn't working. I'm just saying on a bigger level, because Dave has very big dreams. Like, you have the capability of gathering up enough nonsense to do maybe one show in the United States. Dave needs somebody to gather up enough nonsense to do his Germany and Japan and whatever other stuff. Like, Dave needs someone who can pull in the nonsense.
But we
in a
have to
large level.
we have to pay this person, and we have
Yes.
to pay them like up front, because
Yes.
Stefan Pronto, who organized the Worlds and did the last horror tour, left the group text. He got so tired of the nonsense, he pieced out, and he never picked up the phone ever again. Like, I have noticed that in season 1 of the show, it was people love Dave Norrie and they always answer the phone when he calls. People
Not
are
anymore.
hanging up the phone. Not anymore. Nobody's taking Dave's calls.
We'll get Eddie Fiola to cut a new one. Welcome to factOrFreestyle. Nobody picks up the phone when Dave gets on.
People stop picking up the phone for Dave Norrie.
Yeah, they stop. It's the evolution of the show.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, did you ever see the movie
no.
Elf? What's wrong? Uh-oh, Sugar's calling.
Okay, my
Earthquake?
my headphones ran out of
Oh
battery.
no. I can still hear you
Okay,
perfectly.
we're back.
Did you ever see the movie Elf?
Yes.
You know when they brought in the little person to go over all the stuff at the board meeting, and then he gets mad and beats up Buddy the Elf?
Yep.
That's the guy we need. We need to bring in the guy that's going to solve the problem now.
Wait, how about what about? Okay, there's got to be professional fixers somewhere. I wonder. God,
We need a professional life coach.
we need an actual professional life coach.
Yeah, we need a life coach for our life coach show.
We need an actual professional life coach.
Yeah, and I think it'd be better if we get a female to do it. I think it'd be great to have a female in all, because it's all guys. You need that. You need that female presence. I think, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Because it's kind of like if I was decorating our house for Christmas, it would look much different than if my wife decorated the house for Christmas.
Yes.
So it's kind of that thing. I think having a woman figuring it out and being in charge of something where she's not a dude, like, you know, like a dude might have, I don't know. I just think sometimes if you throw that balance into it, for this situation, it would work.
Reclamation bikes. Okay. Reclamation bikes can pay the fee for the female life coach to come fix this tour planning.
Yep, there it is. Dave's gonna love this.
Dave's gonna love this.
Dave's gonna love this.
This is so much better. This is the most productive meeting.
Oh my goodness. All right, look, I'm gonna have to go soon because the Eagles are coming on in a little bit, and I hear people upstairs walking around. I gotta go introduce myself to the family this morning because they're all upstairs causing a ruckus, and I may need to get involved in something here.
All right, my man.
This was a wonderful early morning chat. We solved some of the world's problems that we have.
Like we actually did.
And we got a call. We got a what's that, a cold call. We were just like, we threw it out there and got one of the two that we were looking for. That's big. That's huge. That's power.
That he actually answered the call.
Yeah.
Which is,
it's a sign. It's a sign that maybe something's gonna happen.
It's so funny. Oh my gosh. All right, I'm freezing up.
And I got to see your Civil War pajama top. That was the highlight.
Seriously, like in Wrath of Khan during the
it's got to be
simulator
opened a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. This
There
is
you
when
go.
you know the crew has had a tough day.
Yeah. Oh my God.
All right, Raymond, Jason.
All right, Joseph.
Greg.
Love, peace, and chicken grease. I'll see you next time. All right, behave yourself.
Love, peace, and rabbit teats.
Love, peace, and rabbit teats. Peace out.
All right, see you, buddy.
See ya.